I mean, there was a time I wanted pumps more than what I wanted Jordans. And I know that sounds crazy to people that weren't around then, but it's real. I'm digging these things. Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you. Today I want to get into a pair of kicks that really takes me back. I didn't know these were dropping, but I got an email from Reebok, and it had some pictures of shoes available. These caught my attention, and whenever I went to the website and saw the price, it made me pull the trigger immediately on them. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's take a look at these Reebok pumps. Alright, so I was a kid of the 80s and 90s, and for me, I'm all about nostalgia. That's why I'm so heavy into retro Jordans, Air Trainers, that sort of thing, flights. I just like stuff that reminds me of childhood. In the late 80s, early 90s, there was nothing like the Reebok pump. It seemed so futuristic, so high-tech. I mean, it was like the iPhone of that time, you know? You can see on the box it says pump it up in that orange. Then we've got the orange basketball, kind of like the button. It says pump, just like we'll see on the shoe. Reebok custom fit. The tag reads Pump Omni Zone 2. The colors are footwear white, vector blue, and core black. This is a size 10. I go true to size on all my Reebok pumps. I think they run a little bit big, and I actually have a wide foot, but going true to size always works out perfectly. It's not like Jordan 4s or anything like that where they rub the side of my foot. I feel like they're very wide foot friendly, very comfortable, and I don't have to go a half size up or anything. Part of what made me pull the trigger on these is just the price. I was really surprised. They only cost 120 bucks, and I think for all my other pumps, I think they were at least 140 or 150. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they were always $120, at least here recently. And $120 for this shoe, I think, is a great deal. I love the retro style of them, and I didn't hesitate to grab them. And here they are. I don't know if this is a retro colorway or not, but it definitely has the look of something from back in the day. I think something in the email referenced that it was like a collegiate colorway or something. It looks like it could be like a Duke colorway or a Kentucky colorway, but I can't confirm if this was in fact inspired by any certain school or anything like that. And like I said, I don't know if this is a colorway that was available back in the day. It really does look like something that could have come out of a time machine or something though, because it really nails that retro vibe and that look that I love so much. A lot of people have mentioned that the Hexalite isn't like it used to be, and I know I would prefer it to be like it was back in the day where it was actually, you know, a sizable cushion. Now it's just kind of like a little tiny circle of it, but you do have that little window in the heel. And back in the day, I thought that was one of the coolest things about the shoe, along with the fact that you could pump it up, but it just seems so space age to me, you know? But I love the branding on this. I really like the simple colorway on it. I think that vector blue looks really nice just on that white base, and I think these things look dope. In fact, I'll probably throw these on feet at the end of the video, so stick around if you want to see what they look like and that sort of thing. I'm guessing true to size is the perfect way to go on this pair because all my other pumps are perfect true to size. And I guess I should point out, these are called the pump because it actually was designed to give you a customizable fit. You would pump up this basketball here on the tongue. You can see that that's blue, and then it's got black pump branding on it, but you would pump that up and it actually fills up airbags within the shoe. I can actually feel it already filling up in the tongue. They used to have airbags that went along the ankle and further down in the shoes so that it would form to your foot you know, more securely. Now they only fill up, I think, in the tongue, and then the tongue has extra fabric on the side that kind of drapes down around the sides of your foot, and that also has airbags in it, and I can feel that filling up as I'm pumping it. So I'll go ahead and give it a couple squeezes and see if we can get that sound that we used to love hearing back in the day. But so you pump it up, and then it fills those airbags up with air, and like I said, I can feel it here in the tongue filling up, but I think that's the only place it has airbags. But then once you get it nice and pumped up, and then you're ready to deflate them and take them off, you squeeze this to release it. So I don't know if you could hear that or not, but I could hear a tiny little psh. It used to be way more intense. It used to really fill up with air, and you would hear this psh, you know, to let you know a lot of air was coming out of it. But anyhow, the pumps don't work like they used to. I could feel it filling up a little bit. If I'm being honest, I don't fill these up with air when I'm wearing them. I just enjoy the nostalgia of seeing them again. What I will say is the leather on these is really good. I mean, for the $120 price point, I'm not going to call it buttery or anything. Hopefully you can get a good look at that. Sometimes it's hard to not have shadows on it whenever it's real bright out, and sometimes the bright white just kind of washes out. But it's got a real nice texture, and it's a thick cut, but it's also very soft. It's a really, really soft material, and it's that same leather for the whole upper. So I really, really like the leather that they give us on this, and for 120 bucks, I think it's a really decent value. I think a lot of people that are younger and newer sneakerheads or whatever really just overlook this shoe. But for me, it was just such a big part of my childhood, and it was one of those things that just, I saw it and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I never had a pair of pumps as a kid, but I've got a couple of pairs in the collection now, and I just always was amazed by them, and I still just think it's really, really cool. I really like the style. I love big, chunky 80s type silhouettes like this. You know, it comes up pretty high, it's got the nice high tongue, and it really does just take you back. I love it. I really wish Reebok was still in the game. Like, I would love to see them resurge and get popular like they were back when I was a kid. And I don't know if they could ever get on that level again. I would just love to see them become relevant again. But getting into the review, we have all this different herringbone traction, and it's different levels. Like, some of it sticks out further than other little parts of it, which I think that's neat. Then it has this kind of pivot point here in the front, and that kind of sticks out a little bit further as well than the rest of the traction. Then the perimeter is mostly white, but we just have these nice traction areas of that vector blue or vector navy, whatever they called it. There at the heel beside that hexalite window, you get a little bit of Reebok branding. Very retro looking, even just on the outsole. And then as we come up the shoe, you can see that the midsole is basically just bright white. Looks like it's painted, and then it's also got some little accents of that nice navy color. And the paint looks nice and clean. Not really too much to it. One thing that I would change on these is this fake stitching in the front. Like, there's no need for that. Like, if it's not going to be real stitching, you don't have to make the imprint like there's stitching on there. It's easy to tell that that's not real thread going through there. So I'm guessing they just glue it on, and there is nothing, you know, kind of sewn through to secure it. But I just think they could do without that little stripe. I mean, you're not kidding anybody. Nobody thinks that's real thread going through there, but I'm just being nitpicky now. On the upper, like I mentioned before, it's a nice leather. It feels pretty soft. The toe box has those nice perforations like all other basketball shoes from that era. There you can see the mudguard is a nice thick cut. Basically, the whole upper is nothing but that nice feeling leather, and it really seems like it's decent quality. Seems like it'll hold up. It's nice and soft. But then you also have these areas of this blue kind of mesh material. And I will say, even though it looks like it has mesh, these are not really breathable shoes. Like, I'm wearing a pair of Omni Zone 2s on my feet right now, and they do get kind of hot. like, I'm not gonna lie and say like, oh, it's super breathable. It's not really breathable. There's a lot of padding behind this mesh, so it's not like you get a whole lot of airflow or anything, but it looks really good. But then we also have these plastic hits that are white and then that navy color on both sides, and they kind of tie into the lacing system there. I like this Reebok, the pump branding that we have embroidered onto the side, and then that classic Hexalite branding there on the heel. And at the top of the tongue, this feels kind of like rubberized. I'm not sure what this material is. It's got a little bit of leather below it where it says Reebok basketball, but at the very top where the button is, it feels like it's some sort of rubber material. And of course, we've got the blue pump button and then the release button in white here beside it. We've got more of that mesh with the padding behind it up around the collar in that blue color. And then we kind of have it's almost like a corduroy texture for the sock liner, and that's in a blue color. But it's a real vibrant blue. I really like the shade of it. It only came with white laces, but I think they look nice and clean, and it really gives me that 90s, early 90s, late 80s kind of look, just having them mostly bright white like that. So I'll just rock those in it. But that was a quick in-hand look. I'm going to go ahead and throw these bad boys on feet and show you why I love them so much. We'll talk about sizing. I'm pretty sure true to size is the way to go, but I'll confirm that here in a minute. Alright, so I've got them on and I'm digging the style of them. I love the way they look. It's just a simple colorway. It almost gives me the same vibes as, like, what's the white and blue Jordan 6s? I forget what blue it is, some sort of navy, but anyhow, it's just very simple. It's white, hits of blue, but it's got that nice chunky silhouette, the nice chunky midsole on it. It's got that high tongue, and it definitely takes me back to retro basketball days, and I'm all about that. I'm loving these things. Let me know if you remember when Reebok was one of the biggest names in the game. I mean, there was a time I wanted pumps more than what I wanted Jordans. And I know that sounds crazy to people that weren't around then, but it's real. I'm digging these things. They are really comfortable, even though they're not real breathable. Now I'm ready to dunk a basketball. Just kidding, of course. Hopefully that was enough to give you a good look at these. I absolutely love them, and I think for 120 bucks, it's a dope pair of kicks. I am an old head, so that might play into it, but I really, really dig these kicks. Let me know what you all think about them, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out.